It's fake news. It's a disgrace.
On the same day the president tweeted that the virus would become weaker when the weather started getting warmer, he told Bob Woodward it was going to be deadly stuff. So why does Bob Woodward get the president's unvarnished opinion when the American people don't?
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
I'd like to ask you about the Woodward interviews. Did President Trump intentionally mislead the American people about the threat of COVID, a pandemic that has now cost the lives of nearly 200,000 Americans?
Absolutely not. This president, at a time when you're facing insurmountable challenges, it's important to express confidence. It's important to express calm.
Always play it down. Is playing it down, is that expressing calm? It seems dishonest. It seems
Can
like
you
a
read
lie.
the
How do you square the president's words to Woodward when he said, this is a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than even your strenuous flu. This is deadly stuff. And then just 2 weeks after he told Woodward that, he said, this is a flu. This is like a flu. And of course, he also said it was going to quickly go to zero. But that seems to be in direct contradiction to what he told Woodward.
Well, the president was listening to his medical experts.
How can the president bear no responsibility for the almost 200,000 lives lost when he downplayed the virus initially and he knew that how contagious and deadly it was? I don't understand how that can...
The president never downplayed the virus.
And this is their new hoax.
Do you believe it's inevitable that the coronavirus will spread across the country?
No, I don't think that's inevitable at all.
At this moment, we think we have it very much in hand.
That's what this president has
It will
done.
not appear that the president lied to the American public about the threat posed by COVID.
The president has never lied to the American public on COVID. The president was expressing calm, and his actions reflect that.
I think the bottom line here is that the president, by his own admission in private on the record, acknowledged the depth of this crisis and yet told the American people something very different. How is that, at its core, not an abject betrayal of the public trust?
The president has always been clear-eyed with the American people. He was always clear-eyed about the lives we could lose.
February 7th says it's deadly stuff about coronavirus. In private, on the record. In public, though, February 28th, he says, one day, it's like a miracle, it will disappear.
Well,
It's one thing to, as a public figure, not to try to incite panic. It's a very different thing, respectfully, to lie and mislead the American people about a crisis that has claimed nearly 200,000 American lives.
No one is lying to the American people. One day COVID will go away. I think we can all hope for that day.
Haley, can you give us some understanding about why the president agreed to sit down with Bob Woodward for 18 interviews when his first book about the administration was so deeply critical?
Because he's the most transparent president in history.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Eaton. I'm a retired Major General, United States Army, and I just read Jeff Goldberg's article in The Atlantic. I got to tell you, it was a tough read where you have the President of the United States calls the American military losers and suckers, particularly those who gave their lives. When he met with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dunford, his comment was, "That's a smart guy. Why is he in the military?" I'm pretty unhappy with you, Mr. Trump. So I'm going to keep this short for your famous short attention span. You have shown disrespect to the military on countless occasions. I am stunned that anybody in the United States military would consider you anything but a loser or a sucker. You're no patriot. Let me tell you about a patriot. My father was killed in Vietnam. He was shot down over a Ho Chi Minh Trail section just outside of Vietnam and Laos. He delivered ordnance to cut the trail and cut supplies. And then he delivered close air support to Special Forces troops on the ground. And his airplane blew up. He went down in 1969, 13 January 1969. This dog tag was recovered at the crash site. My father was a patriot. Well-educated. He was a wise man. The best men and women in the United States of America are found in the armed forces of the United States military. Our Army, our Navy, our Marine Corps, our Air Force our Coast Guard, brave men and women. They're not just brave, they're smart and they're wise. So, Mr. Trump, come 3 November, we're all voting for a real patriot, Joe Biden. And everybody who hears this, please take notice and please vote. Vote Democratic. Our country's honor depends on it.
For somebody to say the things that they say I said is a total lie.
I have multiple sources telling me this is what happened. What you see is a lack of understanding about why soldiers serve and what constitutes heroism.
Could not fly. The reason it couldn't fly because it was raining about as hard as I've ever seen. And on top of that, it was very, very foggy. And the helicopter was unable to fly. It was a fairly long helicopter flight, but it was a very long drive.
I'm sure all of those things are true. I've heard from people in the Pentagon Marines who are a bit insulted that the idea that the Marines couldn't fly a helicopter in the rain. But the larger point is that Donald Trump expressed directly to senior aides his lack of desire to go to the cemetery and not to risk 90 minutes in traffic because he doesn't understand why one would go pay that level of respect to fallen American soldiers. He also, by the way, expressed directly fear that the rain, which was quite heavy at times, would mess with his hair. Theory, as he expressed it, according to the Washington Post, is that they have failed at their jobs, so why do we make that kind of effort?
It's fake news. It's a disgrace.
I stand by my reporting.
All of that had to be approved by the president. I approved it without hesitation and without complaint.
I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
What you see is a lack of understanding about why soldiers serve and what constitutes heroism. That's the part that's very interesting to me, and that's sort of the through line from those McCain comments right up to today.
So I just think it's a horrible, horrible thing.
My son was the first person to die in combat under Donald Trump. Just 5 days into his presidency, Trump ordered Ryan's SEAL team into Yemen. Not from the Situation Room with all the intelligence assembled, but sitting across a dinner table from Steve Bannon. There was no vital interest at play, just Donald Trump playing big man going to war. And when it went horribly wrong,
When you lose a $75 million airplane, and more importantly, American life is lost and wounded, I don't believe that you can call it a success.
Donald Trump demeaned my son's sacrifice to play to the crowd. For nearly 4 years, Trump has assailed our country's core values. When Russia put bounties on our troops' heads, Trump defended Putin instead of our military.
I think it's a hoax.
He kneecapped the Postal Service to undermine our right to vote.
This election will be the most rigged election in history.
He's misled us throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all.
200,000 Americans will have died before we vote. They and Ryan have one thing in common. It didn't have to be but for Donald Trump. If you hear one thing, let it be this. Don't trust Donald Trump with your kid's life or your own.
Just wanted to show you, if we make it out of this, look at Mammoth pools. We are completely trapped. There's fire on all sides, all around us. All the roads are burnt. Fire everywhere. A bunch of us are stranded here, and supposedly there's, well, we have no cell phone reception, and supposedly there's nobody coming.
This happened so fast, I don't think anybody could really have known. 1 second we were fine, and then it was like 30 minutes later, the fire had engulfed the lake. Like literally, it was 30, 45 minutes and there was no escape. It was out of this world. People didn't have cell phone reception. I didn't have cell phone reception. My brother, every once in a while, he was able to get a text message out. So we didn't think anybody even knew we were there. And not knowing and just being surrounded by fire, it was like, we're goners. We thought we were goners, and we were just trying to hold it together as long as we could. People that were in their vehicles got out of their vehicles. Others started flashing their flashlights in the air, putting their hazard lights on their vehicle to make sure that the chopper or the help knew where we were, and honking horns. We were all jumping up and down. And once we knew that the chopper knew where we were, they were getting closer, we all started jumping and hugging, and it was like a mini celebration because we knew that somebody was here to rescue us.
We've had some good rain years, but we've had a lot of drought years. And this year in particular, we had a winter that was very dry, and then at the last minute, we got a lot of rain, a lot of grass. The soil moisture never really recovered early in the year. So now it's even more dry than it would be just in an average year.